So good morning, everybody, at home and here in the river room. Please come to lying on your backs, making yourselves comfortable. And if you're happy to, standing your feet on the floor. So we start with this connection through our feet. You can take a few moments to arrange your feet either closer in towards the rest of your body or further away, closer together or further apart, so that you're able to relax through the back of the pelvis. And feel yourself in a position that gives you maximum ease. And taking a few moments to open your senses to the day. Aware of your body breathing involuntarily. The breath gently moving your body. As you gradually begin to feel your weight, feel your softness and your weight of the physical body. A sense of dropping with the force of gravity as you simply lie here and breathe and open yourself to this beautiful morning. Nothing to do. And noticing what's present for you right now, physically, energetically, but also emotionally, mentally. Are you able to set everything free to be here just as it is right now? Just as you are right now? And if you would like to, setting yourself a simple intention for today, for this practice. Something you feel you need for yourself or you would like to offer to someone in need right now. Someone who might benefit from your love, from your focus. And bringing your attention now specifically to the weight of your head. Having a sense that it might even begin to drop through the floor a little. It's so heavy. And then with that weight, begin to gently roll your head from side to side. Just a few times, slowly rolling your head. And when you're ready, bringing your head back to neutral, resting. And noticing how heavy your pelvis is, the back of the pelvis, in connection with the mat. Really heavy bones. This practice today is all about stability, solidity. A sense of being firmly rooted and grounded in order to be able to live more fully, more vitally, more vibrantly. Really feel now this connection, this groundedness out through the back of your pelvis. And a sense of the floor coming up to meet you, hold you, to give you the ground. And then as you bring your attention to the soles of your feet, bringing into your mind's eye, but also into sensation, a triangle from the heel of each foot to the ball of each big toe and the ball of each little toe. And actively spread your toes and distribute your attention and your weight across the whole of the sole of each foot. And a little bit later in the class, I'll recommend that you practice in bare feet. Really feeling these footprints, almost as if your feet are resting in wet sand. And then feeling the back of the head, the back of the pelvis, and the feet all together. So you feel the whole of the weight of yourself supported. And coming to the top of a full breath in, pausing, and then as you exhale, opening your mouth. Can you take 4 more like that? Really enjoying the sense of dissolving on every breath out. When you're ready, returning to a natural breath. Coming back to this commitment or this awareness of the feet against the floor. And we're going to begin to press the right foot down. So if you're actually actively trying to push your foot through the floor, notice how the hip and the buttock might lift a little as the pelvis sloshes to the left. And then let it go slowly, rearranging the pelvis before you begin to press into the left foot. And so on, continuing like this very slowly, very methodically. And you might have a sense that you're walking on your back. Really soft in the shoulders and the throat. Take a few moments walking on your back. For the final few rounds of this, being really absorbed, really noticing the minutest movements and sensations. The asymmetry in the body as you move from side to side. Wonderful. And then becoming still and bringing your arms out in a T shape. Either palms up or down, it doesn't matter. And there's a couple of things I'm going to ask you to inquire for yourselves. I'm going to give you the different options. You could start with your feet together as you very slowly allow the knees to move to the left and your eyes to the right. And then you bring them back up again and you go the other way. You could try that with your feet a little wider apart. And the final option is to start the twist with the knees into the chest. So it's not that any of these are better, they just access slightly different parts of the spine, and you might have a preference, or you might go from each stage sequentially. The idea is to be slow and lazy with your twisting, feeling your way. Really, really slow, really luxurious. If you're in the heat of a Mexican sun, basking like a cat. And again, this is entirely up to you. If it feels delicious, stay with your knees to one side and your head to the opposite, if that's okay. And allow everything to become even softer. As you notice how your body arranges itself in this supine twist. Can you release your lower jaw away from the upper jaw a little? And allow your eyes to bathe in soft tissue. If you've stayed a few breaths on one side, come over to the other side and stay a while, letting everything go. Breathing freely and feather-light. That's really lovely, everyone. If you'd like to gently come back to neutral. And now I would like you to place your feet hip distance apart. You might have your hands on your belly or not necessarily. As you begin to roll over your tailbone, rolling the pelvis forwards, creating a little tunnel under your lower back. And then you allow the pelvis to roll back, the back flattens. You might feel your feet pressing into the floor. You might feel your tailbone gently tucking up. And continue with this very familiar movement that we do every class. Keep softening and inquiring into how little effort you can use. How soft and gentle can this tilting of your pelvis be? And what do you notice in your body? What movement do you notice possibly ripple through the whole body or parts of the body, initiated from the pelvis? So it's up to you. There's going to be lots of it's up to you today. You could continue doing exactly what you're doing if that just feels like a really good thing to do. Or as you tilt the pelvis back, you press into your feet. You do now begin to peel up the tailbone, the sacrum. Maybe you stay there, or maybe it feels right to peel one or two or several vertebrae off the mat. This is not about coming into the deepest back bend you're capable of. It's about the level of attention you bring to every millimetre of movement as you lift and you slowly melt back down again. Keep going. Really, really conscious of your footprints. And it's interesting watching you, most of you are barely coming up, which suggests to me that you don't feel so energetic today, which is fine. What I'm really thrilled about is that you're obviously listening very carefully to what you need. And I'd like you to do that for the rest of the practice, because this is a practice that could become quite strong. And there may be times when you want to back off. Don't want you to overexert yourselves. We're looking for buoyancy within the effort. Beautiful. And then next time your sacrum nestles into the mat, stay there. And begin to roll your head very gently again from side to side. Such amazing bird song. And then we are, once your head's back to neutral, we are going to take the hands over the belly so that the middle fingers maybe brush at the tips. And when you're ready, you're going to actively breathe in down into your abdomen to feel the spread of your abdomen up and under your hands, but also out to the sides and to the back. So it's quite a strengthening breath, strengthening and spreading. And as you exhale, you feel everything drop back towards the spine and let go. Please just take a few breaths like that, these deep, strong belly breaths. You'll feel the musculature, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. But also you might notice these 3 layers of muscle that make up the abdominal part of our core strength. Okay, then letting go after the next one and releasing your arms out in any way that feels comfortable. I like to take goddess arms or cactus arms just to spread the shoulder blades on the floor, but that might not work for you. And stabilizing now into the left foot, and we're going to keep the pelvis absolutely still as you begin to peel the right foot off the floor and lift the knee, maybe a little bit or maybe more towards you. The work is keeping the pelvis still, and then you float the right foot down again. And take a few rounds like that, just maybe 3 more rounds. Right foot only. I'm being curious about whether you notice a flutter of sensation deep in your abdomen, or what you feel in the hip flexors. These muscles that do all the work of lifting the leg. So we're not opening the knee at all. We're literally just lifting the foot with the knee bent, bringing the knee in towards the chest. Lovely. And then when you've done enough on that side, change to the other side, really committing and stabilizing through the right foot as you begin to lift with the left. Very still pelvis. And when you've done 3 or 4 rounds, resting both feet, feeling that ease and stability. Both feet on the floor. So remember, at any stage in this core awareness sequence we're doing on our back, if things start getting too much, you just bring your knees into your chest and you have a rest, a little roll around. But have a go now at arranging your legs at right angles. So you're lifting your knees up above your hips. Your thigh bones are vertical. And your shins stay parallel with the floor if you can. And you could flex your feet or you could just relax the ankles. And as you do this, you might notice that there's a little pull on your lower back. You might need to flatten your lower back a little. And we're looking for maximum stability as you begin to dip the right big toe towards the floor. And then lift it again. So really, really notice what goes on here for you. And I wouldn't do this myself right now because I'm tired, but if I felt energetic, I'd begin to reach my right big toe further towards the end of the mat, just as a little bit more intense. Have a go at doing that. Only if that's right. Once you've done 3 or 4 on the right, begin to do it to the left. If you need to rest in between, bring your knees into your chest. Excellent. Are you noticing the engagement deep in your abdomen that supports you as you move your leg in this way? Once you've done 3 or 4 on the left, please bring both knees into your chest and have a lovely roll around, soothing out any accumulated tension. Wonderful. And then if you could arrange your legs back again at right angles. But now lifting your arms up so that your palms are facing each other and your fingertips are reaching towards the ceiling. And just a couple of times, just to connect with the shoulders, begin to reach up as if you're trying to reach the sun up above you through the roof. Lift, 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 and then slide the upper arm bones down to reconnect with your shoulders. Just do that a couple of times. You might feel the back of your ribs pressing a little against the mat where your shoulder blades meet. Okay, and then staying stable, keep your left arm still and begin to steadily lower your right arm to the floor behind you. And then gently lift it. And just do that 2 more times. Very steady articulation in the right shoulder socket. Next time your right arm comes down, begin to stretch out the left leg long, as if you're trying to reach the end of your mat with the toe. Get diagonal sensation and then draw the knee and the arm back in again. And take 3 more like that. If that is all right, remember what I said about lower back, about tiredness. You rest if you need to. It's very stabilizing for your core. When you've done about 3 on that side, just bringing your knees into your chest for a little rest. It's quite deep work. And then bringing your legs back to that right angle position, lifting your arms again, actively connecting the arm bones into the shoulders. And we're beginning to move the left arm only, with the right arm still, the legs still. So maybe do that 2 or 3 times. And then when you're ready, join in with the right leg, diagonal focus. So you're reaching that, when you start reaching the right leg, you're straightening it completely, if you can. Excellent. Don't do more than feels accessible. And then bring your knees into your chest before we come to the final part of this sequence. Have a little roll around, make circles with your knees to soothe out your sacroiliac joints. Beautiful. Okay, final stage is we come back to right angles. But this time I'd like you to press the heel of your left hand just beneath the knee at the top of the thigh. So you have a sense of pushing and pulling here. You push the leg into the hand, you push the hand into the leg. And then you lift your right arm up. And this is the strongest part of the sequence. So just notice, look after your lower back. You don't need to do this if it's too much. You're going to release the right arm behind you as you straighten the right leg. And you're pushing the left hand and left leg into each other. And then you bring them back in again. Just do that maybe 3 more times if that feels okay. Excellent. It'd be very interesting to know if it's any easier this week. And Dave, you've now done this 4 times. Hope you're feeling stronger. And I'm going to leave you to decide if you want to rest before you take this to the next side, and then you transfer to the other side. Pressing your hand into the right knee as you lengthen the left arm and leg. Just 3 or 4 times. Trying to stay soft in the face. Excellent. Okay, and then we'll meet with our knees in towards us together. And then ease your knees as wide apart as they'll go. And then begin to push them far away and bring them together at the top. And then bring them together down towards the chest. Pull them apart. Push them away. Bring them together at the top. And continue like this just a couple more rounds, circling deliciously into the hips and soothing out the sacroiliac joints. And then meeting with your knees at the top, your arms along, we'll reverse the circles. Pull your knees apart. Draw them down towards your armpits and then together over the chest. And push them up to the top and continue. Easing your way into the goodness of sensation. Beautiful. And then allowing both feet to drop to the floor, float to the floor, and take a moment to simply feel the body here. Noticing the quality of your breath now. And possibly a slightly changed connection with the floor, but not necessarily so. And then as you bring your knees in towards you, take your fingers behind the knee creases. If you're able to roll from the head to tail, please do a few times. If that's just too much, roll from side to side. And we eventually meet in a cross-legged position if that's available. Not a strong cross-legged, just soft, easy seat with a hand on each knee. You could also do this with your legs extended if it's not possible to cross your legs. Then we're going to push our hands down on the knees as we tilt the pelvis forwards, open the chest, maybe feel the shoulders drawing back a bit. And then on the exhale, drawing the front body into the back body, pulling your hands on your knees, maybe a little lift from the pelvic floor. And you continue to roll like this. It's a cat-cow position. Seated rather than on all fours. And this is going to be an example of where I'm going to layer it up. We're going to bus stop. You're going to choose when you want to get off the bus or maybe go back a stop. Or if you want to continue. You might begin as you roll back to lift your ankles crossed, and you change the cross of your ankles as you come down. Staying soft in the face. You might uncross your ankles and come into Ardha Navasana half boat. You might do that a few times. You might or you might not want to come to half boat and then begin to make it twist from side to side. Arms and chest one way, knees the other. It'll help you feel your oblique muscles, the muscles around the side waist. It's pretty strong. You might come back to half boat. You might want to hold behind the knees and really press the sitting bones down, open the chest, roll the shoulders back. You might want to straighten the legs. You might want to straighten your legs and take your arms away. So if you're tired today, don't feel that straightening the legs is a good thing to do. I'm going to leave you for a few moments to practice with intelligence. My intelligence is telling me to watch you and not do anything. If you've decided that enough is enough, bring the soles of your feet together out in front of you with a big diamond in between your legs. And lift the chest open, lengthen the spine, and simply float yourself forwards. Probably everyone can do this now. And in this butterfly pose, feel the whole of the back of the body. You might want to sway a little. You might want to move your head a little. And breathe here, a few breaths. A few breaths. Softening and letting everything go. So we contract in Navasana. And in butterfly, we let it all out. It's a soft pose. And if you wake up one morning and you just feel too tired to do very much, this is a pose that's just very good to ease into the day. Maybe then add a cat-cow or something. So you mobilize the spine. Beautiful, gently, bone by bone, reassembling your spine. Bring your knees together and meet me in an all-fours position. And just feel the energy of your hands. Feel your fingertips, knees directly underneath your hips, and begin to circle in the hips. And as you circle this very simple movement, feel the weight move from hand to hand. I'm trying to really relax the toes. You don't need them curled under. And then you can take your circles in the opposite direction. And I'd like you to continue, and then we'll take it back to the other side, either doing what you're doing now or making more extravagant movements. You could bring more marauding bear type movements into this all-fours exploration. You can do whatever you like. You might even roll forwards into a little cobra or upward dog. Into your body. You might decide it's time to take your weight back to your heels into rested child. Please make it your own. Please make it your own whilst fully absorbed in your connection with the earth. And anything you do in one direction, do it in the opposite direction. Absolutely beautiful. And then please come to sitting on your heels, hands on your thighs, spine upright. Using anything you need underneath the thighs if you need to relieve pressure from the knees. Let's just take a moment, eyes closed, just to feel What's going on? To listen to the birds for a moment. And then floating your arms up in front of you and making fists. And turning your fists down towards the floor so you have a sensation in the front of your wrists. And then we'll move into the shoulders, so lifting your shoulders up to your ears, rolling them back and down, under and up again. So lovely exaggerated circles. Doing 3 in one direction, but then reversing the direction of the shoulder circles. Amazing. And then flipping your hands so that the heels of your hands push forwards. And do your shoulder circles in the same way, so 3 in one direction, really stirring. Feeling the shoulder blades on the back, and then 3 in the opposite direction. Wonderful. And when you've finished, float your fingertips down to the floor on either side of you. And allow your left ear to drop towards your left shoulder. And you can move your head, you can open your mouth. Lift that right arm to accentuate sensation in the left side of the neck. Right side of the neck, excuse me. Breathing here. And then gently taking it the other way. Beautiful. Bringing your head to neutral. And interlacing your hands across the heart. Inhale. As you exhale, push away. And then inhale here and exhale, push your hands up towards the ceiling. So there is a tendency to flare out the lower ribs, to begin to stick out the chest and arch the back. I'd much rather you softened your lower ribs in and you lifted from the back of the ribs. So if you're trying to touch the ceiling with the palms of your hands, and you might begin to feel a lengthening in the side body, armpits to hip creases, quite strong. Breathe here. Tuck your tailbone under a little. So you might feel the strength of your abdomen supporting your back whilst you lift and lengthen. Inhale. And then exhale, gently release. Beautiful. And please bring yourself onto your forearms. Knees underneath your hips. And feel the connection through the hands, through the forearms, through the tops of the feet. And then bring your attention to where your shoulder blades meet. Imagining this very long neck. So the movement of your neck is going to begin from in between the shoulder blades. And then all you do is you begin to drop in between the shoulder blades and watch what happens with the neck. And the rest of the spine, in fact, and the pelvis. You're really dropping in between the shoulders. And then you take the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling as you begin to look towards your navel. And you'll feel the strength here of the whole of your core. And then you let go again and dip in between the shoulders. Please take a few rounds. Obviously, this is a cat-cow movement, flexion and extension of the spine, but with a focus on the ribs and the shoulder blades. Really excellent. So we hold a lot of tension in this area. A lot of us find it's very inaccessible to work on the mobility of the spine because it's encased, it's all surrounded by the ribs. There's a lot going on. Our heart and lungs are inside there. It's a very vulnerable part of the body in a way. Or at least we feel vulnerable if we're threatened there. I felt that when I injured myself. It felt very central to who I was, that part of the body. Okay, beautiful. And then resting. And then we mobilize the spine, but from the pelvis. So just allow the pelvis to roll forwards and the belly will just soften and flop towards the floor as the chest brightens. And then you begin to roll the pelvis back as you look in between your legs or to your navel. Stronger now. You might feel the lift of the pelvic floor. Take a few rounds. Fabulous. And when you're ready, allowing your weight to drop back to your heels as you come and rest in child pose. And you really, really do everything you can to let everything go. It's a contradiction in terms. Softening the back of the ribs and the jaws inside the mouth and the forehead. And breathe with the morning. And then please meeting me when you're ready in an all-fours position. So we have come to a part of the sequence where it's potentially really strong. So it's not going to be for everybody. So I'm going to show you different things and you're going to decide what's right. And what's right might be to come back into child. So with what we're going to do now, which is going to move in and out of plank with the option of side plank, I want you to keep your pelvis very still. So keeping the pelvis still, you lengthen out one leg, toes curled under, and then you lengthen out the other leg. Notice that I'm not lifting or dropping my pelvis. And you simply come in and out of that, and that is already requiring quite a lot of strength, quite a lot of attention. So you could have a go at that, and then maybe come all the way to plank. You might roll over into side plank. This is definitely not for everybody, and we don't stay. We roll back again, pelvis staying as level as possible. We move from side to side. So choose what's right, but everyone takes some time with they're just walking into plank and walking out of it. Resting in child foot whenever you want to. Lovely. Lovely stable pelvises, that's excellent. Notice where strength is happening. What Pete Blackaby would say, so much of yoga or what we do with our bodies isn't actually about brute strength, it's about how we organize ourselves. And I actually increasingly agree with him. Obviously you need a certain amount of muscle tone, but it's much more about how you distribute the effort and you become really efficient. Slowly, if you're doing the side plank version, slowly rolling from side to side. Fantastic. It's looking really good. Please come and rest in child's pose. Circling your wrists if you want to. They feel a bit vulnerable. And noticing, so this is stronger now, noticing how your breath has been affected. Maybe your mood has been affected. And the next pose is a strong pose. And again, it might be that you just don't want to do it today, or you want to do a little way and then you come out again. So if you'd like to join me on your forearms, like you did for those funny restricted cat-cows, it is important, actually, the alignment here is important. If your elbows are underneath your shoulders, and you could take your thumb and forefinger into the elbow crease just to make sure that they're the right distance apart. So we led up to this by doing quite a lot of planks, moving in and out of plank. You might want to do that rather than coming straight into this. See how you get on. And then you curl your toes under. And your head is completely free, your neck is soft. And before you even come up or try coming up, I want there to be a sense of lightness and buoyancy rather than brute effort. So if you want to come into this, begin to lift your knees off the floor and slowly unfold your bottom towards the ceiling. And obviously you'll feel the effort in the upper body. But see if you can find a lightness, a groundedness from the earth to lift you, and then drop your knees back down again. And you can play around with that, moving in and out. If it's too much, come back to the planks. We're looking for smooth arrangement of movement. I would say your elbows are a little bit too far apart, Dave. It's all about physics, really. It's just, yeah, that looks much better support. If you're feeling strong today, if you're feeling stronger than me, you could come up and stay up. And you could try walking your feet in towards you so that your spine gradually becomes vertical. Maybe some of you can work your heels towards the floor. It's tough. Only do, so the head is not on the floor. It's not a head balance. If you're resting your head on the floor, you're cheating. Tough. Amazing. Come and rest in child's pose, please. And again, notice what this does to you energetically, emotionally. You might be thinking, oh, I'm much stronger this week than last week. Or you might be thinking, oh my goodness, all I want to do is go to bed. Notice your breath. And then we just take a few breaths, sitting up again, hands on the thighs, maybe eyes closed, just to feel what you might experience as a brightness around the chest, not necessarily so. Feeling to the back of the ribs, the side of the ribs and the front. And from here, sliding your forearms back down again. But this time your feet are flat on the floor, the tops of the feet. This is quite strong.
You press into your forearms and the tops of your feet just to lift your knees up a little. And just notice how this goes for you. If this is too tiring, don't do it. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release your knees. Come up onto your hands. And as you inhale, push the back of your ribs up towards the ceiling, and exhale, stay here in this cat pose. Feeling the ribs, feeling the shoulder blades. One more breath in, and then come to neutral spine. And then if your wrists are all right with this, if not, come onto your forearms. You press into the heels of your hands, the tops of your feet, and you lift your knees up again. We're gathering strength. Gathering strength. Take a full breath in. And then release your knees down, and sitting upright, take a few delicious rolls of your shoulders. Maybe let's take 3 in one direction and then 3 in the other direction. Lovely. And then bring your hands forwards as you curl your toes under. So you can sit back on your heels as much as is available to you. I use my fingers to separate the toes out. Bare feet, really good for this. If you're able to sit on your heels, if it's just excruciating, bring your weight forwards. And we're bringing love to our plantar fascia, behind the toes, the soles of the feet. Some of you won't feel anything, some people will be screaming. Let's inhale, lift our arms up and open fingers like starfish. Exhale, fists. Inhale, starfish. Exhale, fists. Inhale, starfish. Exhale, fists. Inhale, starfish. And exhale, bring your arms out halfway. Take a full breath in. And either just give yourself a hug or come into eagle arms. It doesn't matter which way, because we'll do both. Have a little roll around. So what we're doing in the upper body is good for the upper body, but it's partly to allow you to spend longer loving your feet, even though it might not feel like a love affair right now. One of those love affairs that should end quite quickly. And then let's open out wide. And cross the other arm on top, either for a hug or eagle arms, Garudasana arms. Hope you're doing all right, Margaret, at home. You're all alone at home today. I don't know where everyone else is. I think everyone else is out in the sun. Okay, let's take a full breath in. And as you release your arms, bring your hands down and release. You can make any noise you like. One, a little tap. Beautiful. So doing the same for the ankle isn't accessible for everybody, but you could have a go. If it's not going to work for you, just sit with your foot, maybe take your fingers between your toes and just crank into the ankle. At least it will give you a little bit of circulation in the ankle. But if you can, try bringing your hands behind you and just allowing the knees to pop off the floor. A little bit or a lot. And take a few breaths. I can't really distract you here. I can't get you to do eagle arms in this position. Oh, it's quite strong, isn't it? Isn't it funny how sometimes it's so much more intense than others? Breathe. Let it happen. Take a full breath in. And exhale, release. Gently come forwards. Have a little pitter pat. Circle into your ankles a little bit And do you notice that your feet now feel a little bit more alive? Your ankles a little bit more alive? No, you don't. Curl your toes under. Take your, oh good. Take your weight back towards your heels. Arms are straight. Come into a sense of support from your shoulders, your rib cage and your arms, but without pressing, without pushing too much. And then we come into our downward dogs in the way that we know, unfolding slowly. And it's possible that your downward dog will feel lighter after doing dolphin. And come in and out really lazily, very bendy, curly downward dogs. A few times. In and out, that's really lovely. So it's much better to keep your knees bent and your belly close to your thighs in terms of what we're trying to do with the spine. We're not trying to bring strength to the upper body here. A byproduct can be strength to the lower body. So have a little time in your downward dogs. You could come and rest in child. You could stay in a downward dog and be intuitive and feel your way. I'll leave you for a few moments. Breathing fully wherever you are, probably making your way now down to child's pose if you're not there already. And let everything go, coming to quiet rest and stillness. Beautiful. Please join me in a sprinter's position where you come up, you curl your left toes under, you sit back on the left heel, and your right heel is about in line with the front knee, the left knee. A hand on either side. And just allowing the rib cage, the belly to settle against the thigh for a moment as you become quiet. So if you're about to run the 100 meters, but you're gathering yourself first. Luckily for us, we're not running the 100 meters. All we're going to do is very gently begin to unfold the back leg. And as you unfold the back leg, the front knee stays bent and your torso just falls over that front leg. And I want you to check your feet. Are they both quiet? Are they both, is each foot mirroring the other in terms of the angle that it's at? And then gently bring the left knee down again. So I'm going to give you options. For now, please just continue unfolding and refolding. And I'm most interested in your feet, the commitment and the quietness of the feet. I'm going to add on things that you're going to decide if you want to do or not. At some point, once that back leg is straight, bring your right hand inside the right foot. Both feet are stable as you peel open to the left. It's not about strength, it's about distribution of effort, about arranging yourself, and then you slowly come all the way back down the way you came.
Very, very gentle, mindful, repetitive movement.
Practicing with maximum ease rather than maximum effort. Looking very, very good in here. So you might like to continue with that. Another variation is to unfold the back leg. To just pop the fingers a bit further forwards and keeping that right foot very quiet, allow the left leg to float up. And you come back down. And that might be plenty enough. Or you might do one of two things. You might take your hands off the floor when the leg is lifted, just to see what happens. You might pop the right hand down and gently unfold into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So this is all completely optional. The point is not to exhaust yourself, but to enjoy the movement and the freedom that it brings you, and the attention. Please change over to the other side if you haven't done already. Becoming very still, first of all, as you rest your chest on your left thigh. And we start just by unfolding the back leg a few times. And that might be plenty for you today. Or you might come into that gentle twisting open to the right. You might come to the one leg balance. Breathing as you go. At some point, allowing both legs to float together as you meet me in a standing forward fold. And your knees could be a bit bent. Feel both feet clearly stabilized on the floor. You might sway a little bit, you might bounce a little bit. Whatever feels good. And then pressing into your feet, bending your knees a little. Inhale, bring your arms with you as you scoop all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. And let's just do 3 more of these, just because they're so lovely. Inhaling, arms up. Feel your feet. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a flat back, bring your chest forward. Exhale, fold. Pressing into your feet, scoop it up as you come all the way. Exhale, hands to your heart. And 2 more without my words. When you come back up for the last time, gathering your hands at the heart space, closing your eyes, and simply feeling how simple it is to stand here and be supported. Beautiful. And then opening your eyes. In the river room, you've all got your prickly balls. At home, Margaret, if you haven't got a prickly ball, you can come to the floor and just make knuckles with your fists and start pressing into your feet all around, behind the toes, the insteps, the heels. And here in the river room, just have a little play. And the more you press, obviously the stronger the sensation. And try and work your way all around, whole foot. And you come to the other foot. And then you could come over on top of your toes, on top of the tops of your feet, have a little kind of massage around the front. Sort of equivalent of what we did before when we lifted the knees. Just a little bit on each side, because it's not really very nice. So it looks like you're twisting your ankle, doesn't it? It doesn't look like something you should be doing too much. Okay, and then let that go and close your eyes and simply feel the connection. Remember those triangles at the bottom of your feet. Feel maybe a renewed vitality, a renewed connection with the floor, if that's relevant. I want you to really spread your toes and then see if it's possible. Don't worry if it's not for me. To just lift the little toe on each foot. Is it possible to bring your attention to the little toe in such a way that you can control it and the other toes stay stuck down? Is it possible to lift the 3 outside toes? So just the big toe and the second toe are down. And you breathe as you do this. And I know all of you have practiced every day since last week. You're really nailing it now, I can tell. Okay, let go. And now can you just lift the big toes and the little toes, so the 3 middle toes press down. And try and do it without gritting your teeth, without stopping the breath. You can't do anything. Let that go. And the last one is where it's initially easier, where you only lift the big toes. Only lift the big toes, but see if you can begin to waggle the big toes horizontally, so from side to side. And I've had people in my classes this week, you can do one foot, not the other. Oh. Okay, enough of all that malarkey. Have a little. And just notice, actually, there's muscular work in what you've been doing. Can you feel it? Like it kind of brings attention to the feet. And we're going to do a last little sequence before we come down. So all you're going to do with that lovely, fresh left foot, feel the floor as you float your right knee up. And we're going to move in our one-legged balance. Going to explore how much you can move without gripping your toes. From left to right, maybe looking up, maybe looking down. Breathing and just noticing what happens. So much harder to do this than it is to stand in a tree pose. It's amazing. Really amazing. Take it to the other foot. For me, I don't know if you, looking up and down is much more demanding than going from right to left. Try doing it without gripping your toes. There's some very gripped toes in here today. See what happens if you even peel your toes off the floor as you balance. What does it do? That's brilliant. Okay, just come to rest with both feet, lovely and simple. Notice how you feel. And if you've had enough, you come to lie down, or you just come into a final little sequence, which is just building what we just did. You lift the knee, but this time we have options to float into warrior three. Join in whenever you're ready. You have options to come back up again. You have option to float into warrior three and take your hands down. You have option to open again into Ardha Chandrasana. We've already done it today. You have an option to take a twisted half moon, which is quite demanding. So this is the final effort, if you like, except we want to keep light and playful. Breathing. So we use the ground to create from, to find our fluidity. Our ingenuity. So have a play on one side, and when you've had enough on one side, come to the other side. Toes. And when you've finished, just taking a moment, really simply, eyes closed, maybe just to feel. Feel your skeleton holding you, supporting the whole body. Feel your weight distributed through both feet. And then please come to sitting down with your feet out in front of you and your hands over the front of your knees. And we've got a sense of really pressing into the sitting bones, a lovely long spine and a bright chest. It's a restricted movement. It's a gentle cat-cow movement, but you can't go very far. So you tilt the pelvis forwards, you brighten the chest, maybe you lift your chin. But as you tilt the pelvis back, there's more room for movement. You can scoop the front body into the back body, chin into the chest, pull on your knees. And just take a few rounds like this. Feel your feet as you very gently mobilize your spine. Can you feel your shoulder blades on the back and how they move, how they come together and then they separate? Lovely. Then coming to a still point and taking your arms out to the sides, palms facing. So with just last bit of strength, just see if we can support ourselves coming down bone by bone. Allow the spine to find the floor, chin into your chest. Until you feel the whole spine and then the back of the head settling. And arrange your feet like you did at the beginning of the class and come to a sense of both feet, the back of the pelvis, the back of the head. And maybe there's a change, maybe something's happened that makes you feel different now, or maybe not. And all I'd like you to do is come back to that very simple, soothing pelvic tilting. Allow the pelvis to spill forwards. Allow it to pull back. If you want to, begin to peel up the sacrum and a few vertebrae just to free up the pelvis and the spine a little. Just a few rounds, nothing complicated. Wonderful. And then if you'd like to take your arms out wide and take your feet mat distance apart. And allow your knees to meet in the middle. And then with your attention on the right knee, allow it to slide down the inside of the left leg towards the left ankle. And you'll find that the left leg just simply floats out to the left. Your eyes might go to the right. And we start the way back by moving the left knee and gradually bring it across, and the thighs will meet and cross, your head back to neutral. And as you keep going, eventually the left knee comes down to the right heel, and the right knee floats out to the right, your head to the left. And you keep going, always starting with the outside knee. When you've taken a few rounds, decide if there's anything else you'd like to do before Shavasana. You might want to hug your knees in. Making sure you're warm enough. There's no hurry.
And as you gradually come to settle, really allow yourself to give in to the force of gravity in a way that you maybe never done before. Let it have you. You might like to gently roll your head from side to side, your heavy head. Noticing the quality of your breath as you gradually rest in stillness. Very slowly burning. The big forest tree stands in the slight hollow of the snow melted around it by the mild, long heat of its being and its will to be root, trunk, branch, leaf, and no earth dark, sunlight, wind touch, bird song. Rootless and restless and warm-blooded, we blaze in the flare that blinds us to that slow, tall, fraternal fire of life, as strong now as in the seedling 2 centuries ago. Beginning to take a few slightly deeper breaths. Feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath. Maybe moving your head again gently from side to side. And introducing any other movements of your choice. As you take your time to transition from Shavasana back into the day. No hurry.